Hello traders, welcome to today's video. I hope as always that you had a really good weekend, and yeah, as it is the start of British summertime, spring is finally upon us, and yeah, the end of winter at last. It has been a long winter, it has been a long crypto winter, but things are starting to look up quite a lot at the moment. So what we're going to do today is we're going to forget the normal trading price action kind of thing, and I want to just do another video on the market cycles and the similarities that we've had between this market cycle and the previous one, and what that might lead us towards. Can we get the 50k by May or June targets that we have turned into a bit of a meme recently on this channel? So we're going to cover that. We're going to go over some similarities. Hopefully this will be useful and informative for you guys. Please do hit the like button if you have not done so already. Go and visit tauruscrypto.com over there. Again, if you have not already been on the website or you don't know much about our community, please do go check that out. And yeah, subscribe and do all of those lovely things. So let's start off here with a chart that I've shown you before, going over the market cycle lengths and why, just a little bit of why I want to do this video now. So, okay, last couple of market cycles. We've had 3-year bull market, okay, 152 weeks of prices going up, followed by exactly 1 year of prices going down, followed by 52 weeks of price going up, followed by exactly 1 year of price going down. And it does seem to me now, I think the macro has made itself fairly clear on all time frames at this stage. We are fairly bullish. We've started the year fairly bullish, and that looks to continue. So if we are going to go for another 52 weeks, then we can enjoy a bit of a bull market up until the end of 2025, which would be kind of nice. Now, obviously, we are going to get corrections along the way. We all know what happened during COVID and this big dump that we had during COVID, but it would lead us to believe that we are going to see something that gives us a nice move up towards whatever price it eventually ends up as. So that's really just going over the market cycle and the similarities that we have on this one. But I wanted to go over something a little bit more specific. So I'm just going to open up this chart and we're going to talk about where we are right now and what we can expect and why our targets are going up towards that 50k, which, I mean, a couple of months ago when we started talking about this during November, December, everyone was calling me crazy. And now people are starting to realize that actually, maybe it's not so crazy. So there are some very distinct similarities that I want to go over. And basically, I've circled this with this, I believe, is very similar, what we are seeing at the moment, to what we saw around the same time in 2019. So March going into April 2019, the change of seasons within the weather and the change of seasons within the market, leading us out of bear market and into bull. So what has happened and what is similar about these previous cycles? Well, first of all, we can look to 30k at the moment as being a really key area for price in general. Okay, this was our floor for the entirety of the bull market. Okay, we can see support came up, support, you came up again, support, and eventually you break down and you have this capitulation event, which capitulated and finished around about, well, the end of last year, as we know. And it was a very similar situation to what we saw at 6k back in the previous cycle. Okay, so you can see support, eventually you break through and you have that capitulation afterwards. Now, what followed that big capitulation? Obviously, on this more recent occasion, this has been a lot more drawn out, but we can almost see that as being similar to the top was more drawn out on the previous cycle as well, as was the bottom. But the highs and the lows remain very much the same, okay? So yes, we had a very long consolidation below support, followed by that final capitulation, the implosion of FTX, and then that was the signal to turn the market back around again. Whereas previously, okay, we just had blow off top, capitulate, and then just immediate recycle and start the new trend. Okay, but there are very distinct similarities within the corrections that we've had in between that, okay? So overall, we're looking at this basically from our bottom to where we are right now has been a very similar length of time. Okay, so if we just go from the low in December 2018 to where we would be able to consider us being now, so having this breakout and coming into that floor, that support of the previous cycle. Okay, this is about 17 weeks that it had that move up. And then if we're going to look at this as well, okay, where are we? We're exactly 17 weeks into this new cycle since the FTX crash. So first of all, there's very big similarities between that. Now, in order to project forward from there, we need to look at where this high got put in. So this was a total of 28 weeks, 196 days from the low of the previous market cycle to that first high that we put in that really gave us confirmation of, okay, this crypto is back, and that was a high, and then we're going to go for another corrective move. So that takes us up to around about early June. Okay, this leads us towards early June. So if we're going to look at a 28-week up move before we start to correct, then we can look at prices going and continuing up until early June. So we've had this consolidation below our previous floor on both occasions, and I'm looking at something very similar to play out within the next few weeks here. So right now thinking, okay, we can probably go through another 2 or 3 weeks worth of consolidation within this range, 10-15% range. And then we'd be looking at a breakout. Actually, if we do the timings again here, this broke out on the 20th week. So if we were to go and copy this over, breaking out on the 20th week would lead us to the 10th of April. So we've got another week, 2 weeks of consolidation, and then we can expect a big old pump up towards our next area of resistance. Now, why 50K? Okay, so this, again, is quite important. There's a lot of stuff that lines up there. Okay, we've spoken about this before. So our first, within the previous cycle, if we're looking back to this again, the first high that we put in after a market structure change, okay, was here. So as we went into the bear market, you had that initial low, you made a lower high, and then you broke the market structure down here, and then this was the rally that gave you a high. And on this occasion, this took us back towards $12,000, and then we had that drop back down to 6K. And then, of course, that dropped further down to 3. What we also had lining up there was the 618. Now, this is on log scale, but it was the linear 618. I just put it on log to make it easier to see. But there's your linear 618. And we had both of those things coming in around that same area, okay, that $12,000 to $13,000 mark. Now, if we move this over onto this cycle, okay, and we're looking at a similar situation, what do we have once again here is after we break market structure, okay, so this is your uptrend, you break this down here, you go through this consolidation, you put in a high, and then you continue this trend all the way back down until the eventual capitulation and the low that got put in November. Now that gives us a target for this of taking out these highs around about $48,000. And then again, you've got your 618 coming in there around $48,000 to $50 as well. $50,000 as well. So this is why, if we're just looking at market cycles alone, we could look for some consolidation here and then a move up that takes us towards that eventual target around about the beginning of June. Okay, now I was joking around on the 50K by May thing. That's quite soon. But what we've seen within this market so far is we've seen that the impulses can be very strong, and it wouldn't take that much to push price. Again, another 100% in order to get to that eventual target. Now, what else do we have as confluence around here? So what I also want to add is a few fib time things that can give us some. So we've done the fibs for the actual price. Now, why is the timing of this also important? So we've seen similarities, okay? Each of the previous market cycles, we've had a similar length of time between highs and lows being put in. But if we were also to add fib time into this, it is really quite interesting. So first of all, we can use our fib time zone, and we can go from our high down to our low, and then we can see that our 618, our 1.618 came in roughly, okay, a few weeks outside of that high that it did put in. So you put in the range, and then you start to correct after that 1.618. And similarly, if we were going to do this over here, we go from our high down to our low over here, then you can see it's a very similar situation. So can we expect price to move up, put in a bit of a distribution, and then we start to correct back down to wherever it wants to correct back down? You would assume what happened during COVID, okay, that we're probably going to come down and target at least these lows or down here. So once we come up to 50K, maybe, then we could be looking at that correction back down to 25, down towards about $18,000. Now, it'll be a bit clearer once we get there what we could be looking at. But again, just playing the market cycles, that is something that we can expect. Now, the other interesting thing from this is if we are to go from our high to our low over here, let's actually put the magnet on, back to our high, then we also have this 1.618 coming in now as well. And the one, interestingly enough, our 1-to-1 was the low, and our 1.618 could be giving us the high. So we do have these macro, big high time frame, Fibonacci time zones coming up around about that same area. Okay, we're looking at early June as being a place where we can potentially put in a top and then start to correct. So that really is just what I wanted to present as an overall idea for this market, and to say, well, is it possible? Can we do that 50K by May? Probably not, but can we do 50K by June? I absolutely think that this is a possibility. This is still the strategy that I myself am trading. We have clearly had a change in market structure to the upside, very similar to what we had back here. Okay, you can see as price breaks through, you break through that, you start to consolidate, and then you continue to push higher. Similar here. Okay, you break through, we can see price, what we did in January, February, not quite being able to break that, but now we've had a confirmed open and close above previous highs, and that would lead to a very significant change in market structure here that would lead us towards looking for these higher prices. Now, there is obviously the other alternative where we can start to correct here. What we've seen previously within the bear market, okay, is when you break through that structure and you get an open and close below. We've gone through a few months even of consolidation before getting that continuation. So that would be the other scenario that we do have to be aware of. Are we looking at this as being similar to what we saw here with an open and close after breaking structure? Therefore, we'd look for this consolidation and then continuation higher. Or are we looking at this being more like the previous market cycle where you break, small doji, range for a couple of weeks, and then continue? I would go for that scenario myself here. Okay, we break, small little doji candle, continue to consolidate, and then we're going to be pushing up for the next highs. Now, the only other thing that I wanted to discuss here is the potential for alt season if we do have this scenario playing out. Because if I'm going to go, this is just random. Now, I only wanted to talk about market cycles, but realistically for myself, I was looking for a move down towards that 25,600 that could give alts a bit of a springboard in order to launch themselves higher. If we are going to remain in a tight range here and we are looking at further continuation higher on Bitcoin, I think that might be quite difficult now. So again, going back to our previous market cycles and looking at this as your comparison, what we've seen previously, if we are going to use this, is if we do just bring up Bitcoin dominance, BTC dominance, let's go on here. What's this one? Then what we can see actually is during this consolidation back in 2019, we actually saw that dominance continue to rise until it put in that eventual high, and then we had the better alt run afterwards once that final distribution had happened. Now it's kind of similar again here. Okay, we can see that the dominance continuing to rise. So if we are going to consolidate and we are looking at massive continuation on Bitcoin, we could still see that flow really going into Bitcoin rather than the altcoins. That doesn't mean to say that I don't think we can get a bit of a drop and then we get those alts bouncing back momentarily, but I think it's quite difficult to have a prolonged alt season when Bitcoin is looking as bullish as it is right now. That doesn't mean that we can't still trade alts, but yeah, I think this goes towards, like, initially was thinking that we could have a really decent alt season last week. But now, having done a little bit more analysis, I'm starting to adjust my thinking and thinking that, okay, maybe Bitcoin is where the money should be right now. This dominance can continue to push just while we're consolidating. And then after that next move, or if we do get a decent little dip on Bitcoin, that's when we can really start to look at alts taking back some of that dominance that Bitcoin has gained over the last few months. The last few minutes of this video has been a little bit scatterbrained because I was wanting just to do the macro analysis here, and then my thoughts just went elsewhere onto this alt season thing. But I'm going to wrap it up there. I hope at least the first 10 minutes of this video was useful for everyone. Again, please do like the video. Please comment below if you've got any thoughts yourself. And if you want to see some more high time frame analysis like this, then yeah, let me know below. And again, any questions, anything like that, and I will do my best to answer them. So thank you very much for watching. Have a great day, and I will see you very soon. Bye.